Oh, sorry. They caught me grooving again, Lyle.
Oh, I thought maybe he was grooming.
Oh, well, I'm not grooming. I'm cleaning my glasses so I can see.
Man, I fixed a pot of pan of lima beans and ham hocks today. Holy crap. It was good.
Thank God your mic can't pick up the toots that's going to happen.
Oh, no, I'm no John Parker. I can't.
John Parker, what is John Parker? Art from 1 Ton. They were known for it. Heck, I even remember one where sweet old little Jody had a fart on screen.
Oh, really?
Well,
I remember Art eating that shad head that time.
Oh, and J Dog eating a
oh my God, them things are disgusting. Holy. God bless them. You know, somebody's got to do it.
Well, you know, that's YouTube. Anything to get views and attention, it seems like.
Really? You think?
I've seen people do some crazy stuff. Let me tell you.
I know. But some of it's funny and some of it's just ridiculous.
I you know, I'm old and cranky, so who knows? I'm no good
Don't
judge.
Get me started on old and cranky.
Hey, I gotta be me.
I got you, man. 100%. If you're not, you're phony. You know.
So Lyle,
hang on. Whoa. Oh. Hang on. 1 second. 1 second.
Oh,
got that, mother.
There you go. Folks watching for the first time or listening, Lila always has 2 things at his well, 3 things. He's got his mystery tumbler full of whatever beverage he's not telling you what's in there. He's got his back scratcher and his fly swatter. He's always got those at his desk during the show.
I do. Gotta have a back scratcher, and I hate flies almost as bad as I hate cats. Not quite, but almost.
Lyle, I think summer's here. How hot was it by you, Lyle?
Hotter than 2 rats bumping uglies in a wool sock. 86 the last time I knew, but that's too hot for a fat old man.
I'm telling you, I beat you today. It was 96 degrees here today, Lyle.
You know, if it's got to be one of us, buddy, I'm glad it was you and not me.
It's got to be me. For some reason this time, you know, I told you this was going to happen. We had these cool weather, cool nights, cool days, all these weeks of cool weather. We had 1 day over 80 degrees here, maybe 2, and then boom, somebody hit the light switch and 96 degrees.
I had said that all along. When the nice weather is gone and the wind stops, which it finally did, then it started raining every damn day. It would get hot. And when it gets hot with that much moisture in the ground, it's extremely humid. So it feels like it's a whole lot hotter than it is. But when you're full figured, like I am, it's really hot.
Full figured. I just call myself chubby or big boned, maybe. There's another one.
Yeah, I hear about full figured ladies. Well, I'm pretty full figured.
Did you just call yourself a lady, Lyle? That's what
I did not. I did not. No, sir. But thanks.
Well, that's good. You know, I don't know what to say. Last time I was out fishing, which was I went out on Sunday, Lyle, and it was. It was rough. It was non-existent. I had 1 takedown, but the problem was I wanted to see how we had a storm for about 2 hours here, and it rained and rained and rained like nonstop. It was pouring down. It was pretty fierce. So I went out on the river to see if that low pressure was going to help the fishing or hurt it. I kind of know that low pressure helps the fishing, but
sure.
I wanted to see what happens. And I didn't even think that it was going to wash all the weeds down, all the grass. We call it grass, a ton of grass coming down, not clippings, but like weeds.
Right.
And I
couldn't. Water time, right?
Yeah, because it just washed it all into the river, off the banks, and not just off the banks, but out of the shallows and stuff where it was growing because the increased current. So I couldn't keep a line in the water for longer than 10 minutes without having to check it. So I fished for about 4.5 hours, I think, 4 hours, and it was uphill it was a struggle the whole night. But at least I got out. I ended up having to make like a 13-mile ride home at 1 a.m. on a dark river. It's been a while since I had to do that, but we got back in time. It took me a while going 25 miles an hour. It was, a half-hour ride home. But we got it all loaded up, got in the garage and did some I guess maintenance. I did some care for the boat this week. I gave her a good washing to get all that mud. I was fishing some shallow waters, and I have one of those deck mates on the front of my boat, Lyle.
Lucky you.
I know. And what I usually do is before I leave a spot that I'm fishing that's super muddy, I'll leave the anchor hang in the water and just idle around for maybe a couple 100 feet, and it'll rinse the anchor off.
Right. You don't want to go too fast. You'll get it up against your boat.
Yeah, I've done that too, but that's another story for another time. We don't want to talk. But that Lund has got an awfully thick underside, and it didn't do anything. But anyways, that I pulled the anchor up, put it in front. It was so dark I didn't see it was covered in mud. I had mud on the whole side. All 19 feet of that boat was covered in river muck. I didn't notice it till I got home. Got that boat in the garage, and oh my God, did it stink up the garage. That was pretty nasty. So I got all of that off. I actually had to pull the boat out and do a bucket wash, which I only do maybe twice a year.
I got to tell you, Mark, if you got yours all cleaned up, I have one that could use that attention. You come down and visit, and I'll visit with you while you wash my boat.
I was going to say, you got my address. You come up here. The king salmon bites starting to heat up. Me, you, and Jerry can go out. We'll have a good time. You just got to get here, brother. That's it. If we can get out on that big lake, I guarantee you fish. I mean it. It's not even funny.
I've got a couple of things I've got to take care of in the next week or two, so I'm going to be tied up for a little bit. But we went out fishing yesterday for a little while. I caught a really, really nice golden shiner in a little conservation lake around here. It was absolutely gorgeous. I didn't take my live bait thing to put it in. I wished I had it. It's a bluegill, not maybe one or two. I don't remember, 1, 2 bluegill. Wasn't there very long. And I will show you what we caught that on. It was, that golden shiner was one of the prettiest ones I've ever seen. Right there. 160
screen here.
Okay.
Hold on a second.
1/64 of an ounce.
Look at that. Oh, perfect. Now it focused. I like that.
The back of it is off of a coyote tail that James gave me, and the front of it is a hackle feather wrapped around there and tied off with red thread.
Looks good. I'll have to send you some jigs so you can tie a bunch more of those.
Are you the one I got those 1/64 10?
I don't think you got them from me yet, because I just got that mold not too long ago. So but I have them. I'm able to pour them with number 10 and number 8 hooks. I'm guessing you want the 10s because you like the smaller hooks, right?
I do. You know what? To be honest, Mark, I never really thought I would like those smaller hooks, but I'm catching everything from the tiniest of bluegill and shiners. Of course, that one was a big shiner yesterday. I've caught bass on them. I caught a bass up there when James and I was fishing at the crappie tournament that Stan Smith put on. I caught a bass on there. It's probably 3.5 pounds. Might have been bigger. It had me all over that boat. I had to push James out of the way 2 or 3 times. Of course, he's a little fella. He's always in the way. But an ultralight 4-pound test line and a big bass on there is a lot of fun to catch that thing. And it was on one of those small hooks that we was using that day. And of course, the baits we use come from our old buddy out in North Carolina. But it was amazing.
We'll talk about his baits. I meant to grab some of them out of my boat to show off at tonight's show, and I apologize for not having them, but I believe you've showed them off before.
I have, and he makes them baits that he makes are hard. They're not. Let me rephrase that. They are hard to tear up. They last a long time. They're firm. Up in the head area. They got lots of action on the tail area, but in the head area, they're very firm. You stick the hook through there and pull it out. It doesn't deteriorate or go away like a lot of the store-bought ones. They don't last very long. Of course, they're wanting to sell you some, so they want you to buy them. But those that he makes are high-quality stuff. And
yeah, they they work even better with those hook keepers that I pour those jigs with, because they'll stay on there and they'll stay upright. But those jigs he pours, they have a lot of structural integrity. It's just the way they're poured and the way they're designed that they keep their form, and yet they're still supple enough to have that tail movement. So
I don't have a lot of them with hook keepers on them. I don't have very many of them.
I can take care of that for you.
Here's what I like.
That work too.
Gorilla Glue. And when you get done, you just take your pocket knife and give that a little scrape off of there and stick the next one on, super glue it onto.
You got to get yourself one of these so you can super glue a bunch of them before you leave out, and you'll have them ready to go.
Oh, I do. I have them all ready to go.
I don't doubt that whatsoever.
Yeah, when I go, I want to catch fish. I don't want to screw around with super glue and I'll get it all over my fingers. The next thing you know, you got it on the line or on your reel or on the cork on your rod. And you're either going to lose skin or cork, one of the two. So, I try to be prepared when I go, and I have, if I think something's going to work, if I'm using plastics one day, I'll take that super glue and I'll do up 6 or 8 jigs and get them ready to go before I ever go fishing. So,
yep.
That's just my thought.
If you're gluing like your confidence plastics or baits or whatever you're doing, there's no it's not like you're not going to use them. Even though you got more than you're going to use, you're going to use them down the road. So you'll be ready to go.
I agree 100%.
So let's see what Quiet Man has to say here. He says, "Hey, Lyle, my pirates are going to catch your Cardinals. What do you say about that, Lyle?"
Ain't no chance in hell. Ain't no way that's going to happen.
For those of you who did just listening tonight, Lyle's the diehard Cardinals fan, so there you go. Even though I live in Illinois and near the Chicago area, I don't watch baseball, so I'd rather watch the. I'm not going to get into it. I have other opinions about
before you quit altogether. At my age, there's a few things in life that I've planned on doing for a long time, and at some point, I want to go to Wrigley Field before something happens to it, or I die, and I want to watch the Cardinals and the Cubs play a game in Wrigley.
Hey, I know a place you can come stay.
I bet you do. But
I know a place right across the street from Wrigley Field called Chicago Oven Grinders Pizza and Lyle. It's a pizza pot. It's not a deep dish pizza. It's not a thin. It's a deep dish pizza. Okay. Me and you will order not deep dish. I'm sorry. It's a pizza pot pie. It's ridiculous.
A pizza pot pie. That sounds amazing.
Chicago Oven Grinders. Look it up, anybody online, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's ridiculous. Right across the street from Wrigley Field. You and I will get a couple of those. We'll take pictures and send them to Betty Jean.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, because she wants me to take her there next time she comes out here. If we beat her to it, she'll be awfully.
Well, even if she shows up there, don't take her there till I get there.
Okay, we can do that.
What do you say? Everybody in chat.
I need to say this comment. The Greg Burgess says, "Mark, we got 5 inches in 2 hours yesterday afternoon. That's a lot of water."
But we had 3 inches in about 2.5 hours the other day. It really come down. It really did. And I have an issue with my truck. That truck has been so good, and we really haven't.
Don't say it, Mark. Don't say it.
We've hardly ever done anything to it besides change oil and put tires. Honest to God. But I went to open the sunroof. It's got a moonroof in it, one that goes all the way back.
Yeah.
Somehow, with the rain and everything, it stuck in the rubber that seals it. And I heard a pop, and it won't go up or down. It come off track in there. And I need to get over to my son so he can help me figure. I can't push the button and look up in there and see what I need to do to put it back on. So it's going to take an extra hand. And I need to go over to Marky's and have him help me do that. In the meantime, I took some shipping tape and put over the crack to keep the water out, which did. It's amazing. That shipping tape worked really well. But, things get old. You have issues. Even Fords break down at sometimes.
They all break down.
Rarely.
I had a buddy of mine send me a picture. He says, "I got a new truck." And he sent me a picture of a Hyundai with a truck bed. I'm like,
that's not a truck. That's not even an automobile.
we're not going to get into what I told him, but we got into a very colorful conversation for about a half an hour on the phone. It was pretty humorous. That's my buddy Mike. He actually told me he watched my live streams. I didn't think he would. Me and him have always kind of been in competition. He's always kind of given me the business about being on YouTube and stuff. And it turns out he's been watching me the whole time, and he says he really liked it. So that kind of made my week. That made my week to hear Mike admit that. So that was kind of fun.
Do you have another live plan?
Not planned. Lyle, this year I'm going to try and get out at least once a week, do some flathead fishing until the time is over. I might get out during the day rather and do some channel cat fishing, because after the cooking show we did, which I had a lot of fun doing,
great show.
I need to get some more channel cat fillets, because I need to make me a channel cat po' boy. I think we're going to make a short video for that on my channel once I get some fish or some more channel cat, and who knows, it might take off. I just had a lot of fun. I thought I thought it was pretty silly. I thought what I made turned out really well, and I kind of liked it.
Yes, it did. It was a great show. I enjoyed it so much. I'm glad that you done it with me on Panfish Nation, because it was a lot of fun, and you put a lot of effort into that, and I appreciate that, because it was really good. But now
I gotta hand it to Mike. I'm sorry to interrupt. I gotta hand it to Mike Chavez, because he does that like on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And there's so much that you need to prepare to get the camera angles to look right and the sound to look good and all of that stuff.
Mike does a great job.
Yeah, he is.
He does a great job. I do know a lake up close to you or semi-close to you that's full of channel cat that you could probably score a few.
I think so too. I could go down to the river here as soon as they get off a spawn. Everything I've been hearing, they're in the wood, they're spawning. I'm gonna wait to do that. I got the company I represent, the Whisker Seekers, sent me a jug of their new stink bait. I'm going to give that a shot and see how that works, because I don't care what anybody says, stink bait works great for eater sized channel cats. You're not going to catch a monster, but if you're looking for eaters, you're looking to have bait ready and in the garage or in your truck all the time, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, it's a good time,
and it's fun to use.
Yep. If you're looking to catch big monsters, or you want to enjoy a fight, use a lighter rod and you'll be good to go. So
best thing to do with stink bait that I found is to find your buddy sitting there not paying attention and open that bucket of stuff up and set it right behind him or right underneath his seat and just sit there until he notices it.
You want to hear what a buddy of mine did to me one time? We were bank fishing for flatheads. I used to keep a jug of that stuff in the back of my pickup truck, right? And before I left for the night, he opened it and just stuck it back in the bed of my pickup truck. It sat there for a week under a black tonneau.
Oh my God. Holy crap.
And I would walk by my truck and be like, what is that smell? And fair enough, he got me. So it was bad. I had to take that tonneau. I have one of them flip tonneau covers. I had to take it off of my truck and power wash the back of it. I bleached it. That didn't even help. I sprayed it down with Lysol, because they got like a foam core, so it sunk into the core of that tonneau cover.
That's funny. I used to do Keith. My buddy Keith Atkins lives up between Columbia and Jeff City. I used to do him that way every time we go fishing. He'd get aggravated at me, but he'd forget it the next time we go. Hell, I'd do it again. The more times you do it, the more fun it becomes. And but him and I fished a tournament on the Mississippi River. We left out at Louisiana, and it was a June tournament when fish were spawning like they are now. We were struggling. I'd been catching fish in front of the dam all week, and we sat there for 4 hours the morning of that tournament and never got a bite. And I was so hard-headed in those days that I didn't want to move, because I knew them fish would be there. And sometime that day, I'm sure they did. But we took off and went up behind an island and pulled out some Danny King punch bait. And we put our 5 channel cat in the boat and ended up in the top 10 with 5 channel cat. That's how bad the bite was that day. They were small,
That stink bait, like we're saying, it's not the biggest fish or whatever, but you know what, that scent, especially if you're fishing in some water with any sort of current. Now, I'm not talking a river, but I'm talking like maybe where you're fishing a creek mouth where a creek comes into a body of water, that scent washes off downstream and calls in the fish. I don't care what you're saying. It calls in the little ones. They come looking, they get curious, and that'll bring them in. I got one spot here that's a kind of a dammed off creek, and one of the only public spots that I could fish is all the way to the one side of it near where that creek entrance is. And if I throw that stuff out there, even if I'm not getting a bite, I'll get one within an hour. It's like nonstop. It finds its way down, calls them in, they come on up.
And most all of that stuff will catch fish.
Yeah.
Most all of it will. Now, some of it does a little better than others. The thing about it, I always liked about Danny King stuff was stay on the hook. When you're in a big river with lots of current, of course, we fish in the rocks, but it helps to have something that'll hang on there. And another way to do that is a piece of old hose that some woman is throwing away and tie it on there. But that Danny King's, I think it's got rabbit hair or something in it. I forgot.
Yeah.
Now. But
you know, I used to use the Team Catfish hooks called Little Fuzzies. They were circle hooks, and they had a little tube with a bunch of nylon hairs that stuck out of them. And they quit making that, which is kind of unfortunate because that stuff, those hooks used to work really well. So now I kind of just use I use treble hooks, the Whisker Seeker number 4 treble hooks. The stuff that they sent me is pretty thick. It's got fiber, and I believe it's got fiber. No, don't quote me on that, folks. It sticks on the hook pretty well, and it works good. So we're going to give it a shot. I'd rather use a circle hook than a treble hook, but whatever's going to keep that stuff on there, I'm going to use. So
I got something new I'm getting ready to try, Mark. I'm going to tell you about it right now.
All right, look what you got.
Hold on. It's called Situation Extreme Braid. I believe that's what it is.
Haven't seen that. From Japan, or China?
Yeah, China. I'm sure
China?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure. It doesn't really say on here, the thing on the back store. But, yeah, I'm excited to try this and see how it works. Braid is made in a very few places. So a few companies make it all and put different stickers on it for everybody. Now, some of the places are here in the United States, some of them are not. The thing is, I have found any yet that wasn't pretty good. I mean, some of it's a lot better than others. I love my Sufix. That Sufix braid is by far heads and tails better than anything else I've ever used. And it has some kind of coating on it, makes it extremely abrasion resistant. It's not that it can't be broken, because all of it can be, but I really like it, and it casts so damn good. It's just unbelievable.
Well, hey, that's all that counts. I mean, lightweight braid's good for sensitivity, definitely. If you're fishing like not under a float, if you're fishing, a bottom rig, whether it's a Carolina or a drop shot, braid's a pretty good way to go because you can feel every little tick on there. So
okay, cool. What do you think we're halfway through the show? You want to introduce everybody?
Oh my God, look at us. Yeah, real quick, Lisa says, Lyle, Mark, y'all missed Hogleg show last night. You missed Quiet Man Curtis' new outfit. It's pretty disturbing. Actually, I was there, Lisa. You forgot so quickly. Oh my goodness. Let me say hello to everybody.
Wait a minute. Does anybody have a picture of that they can send to us and we can take a look?
I'm sure we can get one from. I'm sure we can get one from either Hogleg or Troy. If Troy's watching, Troy had it. I'm sure he'll send it.
Maybe we can get one of those and share it, screen share it.
Well, we'll see if Troy's listening. We got to see if he's got my email. I'll have to keep an eye on it. Let me say hello to everybody because we are already 25 minutes into the show.
Yeah.
We keep forgetting people are here. There's Benoit, Fishing Outdoors. Hello, ladies. They've been killing it. I think I saw last post of theirs on Facebook with some nice looking channel cats, if I'm not mistaken.
They've been doing really good.
There's Danny Stone Outdoors. What's going on, Danny? How you doing? There's Mike Urban. Mike, is today Mike's birthday, or am I mistaken? It might be Mike Urban's birthday.
Happy birthday, Mike.
If it is, happy birthday. If not, forgive me. There's P&B Paul Boyd, Catfishing. How you doing, Paul? There's Palmetto Cats. What's up, Kevin? How you doing? Pontoon Jody in the house. The proud owner of Palmetto Cats pontoon boat. So she's got a new to me pontoon boat. That's exciting. There's Quiet Man Curtis. Hey, there's our buddy SK from SK's Crappie Catching Adventures. who has a live stream on 9 o'clock Central Standard Time on SK's channel. The Crappie Kid's in here. He had a good video out there. He was fishing on some rocks. That I would have rolled an ankle before, like on the first step.
He run around like James Dockery with boot on your foot.
He was like a mountain goat on them rocks. I was impressed. Man, to be young again. Good job, buddy. There's Frank over at Twisted Fishing TV. I believe he's out camping, having a good time. Saw him cooking on a Blackstone on Facebook. Cool. And there's Miss Uptown Chrissy Brown. How you doing, dear? What's going on, everybody? I'm scrolling through chat here, see if I didn't miss anything. There's Curtis yelling at Lisa about the comment. Schmieder the Cedars, what's going on, my friend? How you doing? Mr. Greg Burgess, how are you? Small Water Charters in the house, how you doing? Danny says, put 80-pound braid in my bait caster, taking it off. Dang stuff gave my thumb friction burns from hell.
Danny, don't throw it so hard. You don't have to be on the other side of the Mississippi River. There's fish on your side of the river, I promise you.
And Danny, maybe you should lay off the hand lotion, or maybe do a hard work labor and toughen those hands up. Hard day's labor, Danny.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, look at this. Twisted Fishing Outdoors says he's having dinner in Chirac. That's Chicago, Lyle.
Okay.
Just don't get near those protests, but we're not going to talk about that. Me and Lyle maybe promised not to go off on that today.
Don't want to get me started on it. Yeah,
I know. Chrissy, Benoit. All right, I think we're getting towards the bottom. People just
Cindy has made it into chat.
Hey, Cindy, how you doing? Schmieder the Cedars. If I missed you,
that's the coolest name we got.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Hey, there's Dennis from Northeast Missouri Angling.
What's going on, Dennis? How you doing, bud?
Says he's watching on TV tonight.
Oh, look at this. Frank says a furry thing and a Secret 7 was the best combo dip bait I have used. Sunny works great too. Yeah, that Secret 7 and those furry things. He's absolutely right. That's what they used to call them. Those work really well. I was a big fan of those.
I don't think Danny should complain about that braid burning his thumb until he gets a scab on it.
Well, if he keeps using it, he'll toughen it up. Toughen his
maybe. I'm not. Does he do any manual labor at all, or is he just like Chad?
I don't know. Oh, speaking now, you just reminded me. We were talking about the practical jokes, like the one my buddy did to me. Right. The last good practical joke I ever did is I put a Catfish and Crappie sticker on a brand new boat of a friend of mine's.
Okay.
You wouldn't know anything about who that friend is, would you, Lyle?
I do.
Okay, yeah. We weren't going to get into it too much.
Crappie Kid says Brimmer on bed and going nuts down here. I don't I don't remember where he's at, but I think he's down south somewhere.
I'm not quite sure too either. What state are you in, Crappie Kid? You have to forgive us.
Yeah, I mean, Mark and I are not as young as you are, by far.
I know my memory slips me all the time.
Mine too.
But at least I don't let braid burn my thumb. Did I say that out loud? There's Lance McCougar. What's going on?
I will say that I have had that happen before, but not recently. It only takes a couple of times, you learn.
Danny's probably. I'm in Florida, in the Panhandle, Panama City Beach, Florida. Oh wow, cool,
nice.
I used for some reason I thought he was in like Kansas or Oklahoma or something. I don't know why.
I love it when the bluegill and crappie are on beds. You can have them. Now, what we was originally going to talk about tonight was what's better for everybody, live bait or artificials. I'm kind of torn with that because I like hand ties. I have more success with them than I do plastics most of the time. There is some days when the plastic actually catch more fish, but not always. And if you're finesse stuffing, real small ones seem to work good for me. If they're hungry, feeding, or if they're on beds, it doesn't seem to make any difference. So anything that enters that bed, they're attack. But year round, in and out, day after day after day, it's hard to beat a red worm or a night worm. It really is.
No, we need to define what the word best means, Lyle. 100% we got to define that. Now, my idea of having to walk all the way to the back of a Walmart to get worms is not my idea of best. All
You
right?
think they should put them right up there in the front by the counter?
I agree. I don't know why they don't do that. They want to walk you all through the store, and then they right by the little Debbie's and right by the whatever aisle, the potato chip aisle I got to go by, and end up having to walk back to the front of the store, get me a shopping cart because I got all sorts of stuff. The wife says, while you're at Walmart, pick me up this. So, yeah. All right. It may work best, but not for me.
I think the fishing section should be right in the front. Even Bass Pro puts it in the back. What's up with that? You're selling fishing equipment. Put it up front where people don't have to walk around all day to find it. The only reason they do that is because they know you're going to find something else you need or want.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis says cats are on the nest here now, but crappie are really good right now. I seen that he had a new video out. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but I'll take a look at it probably later tonight.
You know, me being grouchy about having to walk through Walmart. But I did find that the Casey's that I usually stop for fuel on the way to the river or when I'm fishing does have bait. So there you go. That's kind of a way about going around it. And if I'm in Walmart, I always pick them up. I mean, I need to right now, the big walleye are probably up on the in the weed lines here on the Fox River. I might try and get out and chase after them. So I did when I was at Walmart the other day. I picked up like 3 dozen crawlers, so I got them ready to go. But I'll definitely use them this time of year. It can't hurt to tip a jig head with a crawler or a red worm or a waxy or whatever. Natural bait definitely it works bar none. If I'm bait fishing, I'm using red worms. You know, if I'm in a hurry, I'll use those Berkley Gulp minnows if, you know, I don't feel like getting worms, or if I'm, you know, if I went bait fishing last, what was it, Friday? I think I needed 6. I ended up getting 12, but I didn't even put a night crawler on my hook. I put those Berkley Gulp minnows on there. I even took that off and I was catching them on those little baby tiny, you know, 3/4 inch tube jigs that I picked up, and I was even catching them on them. So, I mean, say what you would, and you know, are they on bed here? No, I was catching them out of the weeds, so I know exactly where the beds are on the spots I go bait fishing. So they weren't on it yet. This hot weather might spark it. So
we're missing a couple of things. Tipping a jig like that little one I showed you all ago with a wax worm, if they're really just hitting it and bumping it, not taking it, a wax worm sometimes will make them go crazy. And somebody sent me a jar of artificial wax worm. I haven't tried them yet, but they're on my list for the next time I go out to give them a shot and see how they work. They have a little odor to them, so I think they probably will be okay. Wax worms, and maybe it's me, but I don't smell them nearly as much as I do this artificial stuff. So I'm hoping for success with that. Another thing is crappie nibbles to tip your jigs with. But the thing that we're really missing is one of the hottest live baits that I'm aware of, and that's crickets. Problem is, not every place has got them.
Yeah. I've never used crickets, so I don't know. I'm able to catch them in my area without having to do that. And the bait shops don't sell them around here. If I want to try using crickets, I probably would have to go over to like PetSmart or something like that.
That's where you get them. If you can't find them, yeah, just buy you one of them little tubes. Go in there and tell them that you need some. They'll sell them to you. They're not very expensive. If you get loose in your boat, it'll be winter before you find all of them, and you'll listen to them every time you go out. But that's another deal. The thing is, they really work good. DD bugs were hot. Would love to send you guys some to try. They're handmade out of Cyprus. Hey, I'd love to see that. That'd be awesome.
I'd try them. Send them away. I got an address for a PO box on my channel, but I have to warn you, I don't go to that PO box much anymore. If you send me anything, let me know. Lila, you can. Your address is on the web page, right, for Panfish Nation.
On the Facebook page?
No, maybe on the Facebook. I don't know. I think Lyle needs to update his to
I probably do. Just message me and I'll give it to you.
There you go. Cool.
That's the best way to do that. But I have been seeing guys use these artificial crickets, and I see he's made another post down lower about that. These guys are having pretty good success with artificial crickets, and there's guys using them on fly rods. But you could use a live one on fly rod because they don't weigh nothing. And that would really, really be good.
Northeast Missouri Angler says mid-May through September, minnows, jigs fall through spring here. Okay.
Makes sense. There was a lady yesterday on the dock that I was at, was using minnows, and she was catching crappie. Now, she caught a couple of really good ones, but she caught a whole bunch of them that I wouldn't have filleted. That her and her husband was wanting to take them home, and they was actually camping there, and that he only caught 2 the whole afternoon, and she had a half a basket full. She was knocking them out, one right after the other, and it was fun to watch.
Like an 8-inch crappie, they say tastes best, but you're not going to get a big fillet out of them. If you're going to keep something like 7 or 8 inches, what you do is you want to cook them whole. Take scrape the scales off, cut the head off, gut them, cook them with the fins on. You'll get that extra little crunchy bite at the end. When you eat
stuff right there.
Good stuff. If you're going to split them in half or butterfly them, I've seen people do that. Leave the ribs in them. When they're that small, you might even be able to chew on some of the ribs. It'll dissolve in the hot oil. Or just peel it off the ribs. Whatever makes you happy. I've seen people do both ways.
Right.
I'm not one to say who should harvest what. Just tell them to harvest responsibly. Don't take 500 7-inch crappie out of the water. But if you're going to take 3 or 4 out of there, I'm not going to bother you about it.
This lake is so full of crappie that there's no length limit on it. It's overpopulated. And it's designed that way, in my opinion, because of the handicap dock. And it's not really just for handicap. It's for people that can't walk around the lake and fish. It's close to the dam, and you can walk out there and normally catch bluegill and crappie. It's got brush all the way around it, and it's got a hole inside of it where they put sticks and crap in there. But that golden shiner yesterday was the highlight of my day. It was really a nice fish, and I'm working towards trying to get some Master Angler Awards, and there's links on everything, but no link on a golden shiner.
Yeah. Golden shiners, we got them here in the ponds that I bait fish, and they'll pick a worm to death without the hook, without you being able to put a hook in them, at least the size hooks I use. So it's always a treat when you get one big enough to catch, and you can throw that in the bait tank there.
That's why something this size is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a number 12 size hook on a 1/64 ounce. If you don't put too much on it, tip it with too much, you got them. And that's like bluegill. They have such a small mouth. I know people that use size 1 hooks. A lot of them use 4s and 6s, and you can catch bluegill on those. It's not a problem. And you're going to catch big ones on it because their mouths are small. The little bitty ones can't really get the hook in their mouth, but they can rape your bait. They can do that. That's why you started using such smaller hooks.
If I was using a regular Aberdeen hook, like the gold ones with the round bend in them, I would use probably a number 6 hook, to be honest with you. But I use those Pro V's, so I use number 2s and number 4s, and the way that hook is angled, I'm able to get the hook kind of levels it, or it kind of hooks, it goes into the fish's mouth a lot easier, and it seems to work better. And I get a pretty decent hook set with those. But if I wasn't, I mean, use what you can. Try not to gut hook fish. Keep an eye on it. If you're fishing on the bottom, do like Lyle does, use the braid so you can feel that bite, or else you're going to be killing panfish for no reason. Even the little ones are too small to harvest. So
one of the tricks that I have used for years, and I learned this using crickets one time. They make what they call a cricket hook. It has a really, really long shank on it. And when they get it down deep, if you're using those long shank hooks, and it doesn't affect the catching of the fish, you can push it down, get the hook out. It saves a lot of fish. Now, I know my jigs don't have that, but I can't put that much chenille or something on a 1/64 ounce hook. The hooks are too big for that. That's why the smaller hooks work. But I get those cricket hooks, and they come in 6, 8s, and 10s, depending on where you're shopping, size hooks, and they work really, really well. And if you're not keeping them, that's the best thing that I've found to use for them. And for me, because I can get them out, because if I got to kill one, it's either going to be cut bait or it's going home to eat.
I haven't come across any of those cricket hooks. If I ever did, I'd probably pick some up. I'd be curious to try them. But yeah, the longer shank.
I'll send you some.
Cool deal. Crappie Kid says live bait rules in the spring to summer here for brim. Artificial does better in the winter months, and flies are the best. To use. Cool.
Go ahead.
Bugman says, I will bite my tongue on taking gills off the nest. I understand, Buggy.
I do understand that. I got that. But when you go to places like I was at yesterday and they're so overpopulated, they do that on purpose so people go to them docks can catch them and have a good time. This place even has free camping. There's not a lot of camping area, but they want people to go there and catch fish and enjoy them. All places are not like that. All places don't have that many fish. But yeah, I got what you're talking about. I really do.
Bugman says, oh my God, I've gotten to where I do not say I'm going to Walmart. When I do, I get handed a list of stuff. I feel your pain.
You know what is a great thing about Walmart that a lot of people don't know about? Walmart Plus. If you will contact Walmart or go to their thing and get a thing, you can order online and they'll deliver it to your door. Yes, sir, they will.
I'm not doing that. Last thing I'm going to do is have some bozo picking what lunch meat I want. I'll ask for something. I'll ask for bologna. They end up giving me like, I don't know, turkey bologna. I don't want that.
You don't have to take it, but I mean, if you're getting Campbell's soup, which I love, and say you want a fishing reel or some braid line or sinkers, whatever it is you want. If your order is over $35, it don't cost you nothing, and it'll drop it off your door. You don't have to get off your lazy butt and go do it. And it keeps you from getting pissed off at all the people that's trying to run over you in Walmart.
I don't have that problem in Walmart.
You can get more road rage in Walmart with a grocery cart than you can driving down the road these days.
People seem to avoid me in Walmart. I think it's because I'm big and ugly, but that's another topic. Chrissy Brown says, I keep forgetting to take my jig box with me. So she's been using live bait. She's been getting on some good ones too.
Yes. Right now it's a great time to catch
back to the wax worms. Lance says, I'll be buying 1,000 wax worms, mealworms, and crickets for the new reptiles I've gotten. So I will have bait for panfish also. Good deal. Now, you had mentioned that you don't smell those waxworms. They do stink, Lyle. I don't care what you say.
No, I'm not saying they don't stink. I'm saying I can't smell them.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're nasty. Bad. But that's why they work.
When they die, I can smell them. Ooh.
I've opened up a container of them, and it's been full of dead flies, but that's another story. They hatched in there. So.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would really be bad. But yeah, they're great bait. There's some other kinds of stuff like that works really good. Mealworms, maybe. I haven't been using a lot of that over the years because let's face it, red worms, fishing worms digging out of your backyard, night crawlers, all that stuff is really easy to get, and it catches fish. So I never was worried about the other stuff, but I have grown kind of fond of the crappie nibbles and those Gulp live minnows. I don't catch a lot on them for whatever reason. I think it's the way I am. There is a guy on YouTube that I've been watching a lot of his videos here lately that strictly uses Gulp live minnows, and he wacky hooks them through the middle of the.
That's how I do it.
Okay, I don't do it that way. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. I hook them through the head. I will try that other way. He can, Under a Bobber Fishing, I believe his name is channel.
You know who else uses? Justin from Kayak Catfishing loves those Berkley 1-inch gulps too. Those 4-hour nonstop creek fishing videos where he's fishing for bluegill all day.
Yeah,
that's what he's using. He's using them on a trout magnet jig head, and he puts the Berkley Gulp 1-inch minnows, and he kills them with those too. He does them, he does them with just the jig head on there, 2-pound test if I'm not mistaken. If Justin hears this for some reason, or 4-pound it could be, but he just casts it just with the little 1/64 ounce jig head, and he does pretty good. I use them both. I use them with just with just an Aberdeen hook or with the jig head. They work either way. I haven't had a problem. I like on the jig head lately because I have the mold and I don't have to buy them.
right.
And if there's two things about those artificials. Sometimes they won't bite if they're just sitting there underneath a float. If you start moving it, retrieving it slowly, that'll trigger a bite in harder conditions. And that's why I like using them on that jig head, because the jig head gives it that natural presentation going through the waters.
I got you. I see Brian B. Catfishing has made it into chat. I would have swore I seen a short video of him fishing the other day. I'm not sure it was him. I didn't. I wanted to say something smart ass to him, but I was so shocked that he would be in a video actually catching fish that I was afraid I had got the wrong guy and I didn't want to do it.
I demanded a note from a notary republic that was a current video. I haven't gotten a reply from Brian yet, or a comment in response, or I haven't checked for it. So we'll see what happens. Uptown Chrissy Brown says, I have them artificial wax worms, but haven't done any good with them. Thinking about soaking them in something. They should come in that Berkley juice, whatever the heck that secret recipe is. But if not, heck, have Ernie save you some bacon grease. That can't hurt either. I mean,
everything like bacon.
I'm telling you, that little bit of grease will cause a slick. Maybe call him in. The Crappie Kid says, I make a 3/4-inch artificial cricket, and I do very well with them with the panfish.
I'd sure like to see one of them.
Palmetto Cat says, the big copperhead brim love the crickets here in the summer, and Kevin gets on some big ones over there.
They got some giants down there. Yeah, they really do. They're beautiful fish, dude. I love seeing pictures of those. They're just awesome.
He does agree. Crappie Kid does agree. Live bait is better, 100%. I don't use minnows too much anymore, Lyle. I'll get them every now and then, but other than that, they're at $4 a dozen here. I can do a little better than that.
The sad part about the $4 a dozen, Mark, is them guys buy them by the pound, and it's pennies for them. I understand these places have to make money to survive. I was in business for years. You don't have to make it all off of one person.
They got to stay in business. I understand that. It's just there comes a point when you're willing to walk. There comes a point when you're willing to walk away. So Bugman says crickets are bar none the best bait for gills.
I have great success on them, but then again, like I say, night crawlers, worms of all kinds work good for me.
Frank over at Twisted Fishing TV says, Gulp maggots are great little scent and flavor nuggets. I catch all types of panfish, chubs, and suckers on those.
Catch a lot of suckers.
I've caught bullheads on them, to be honest with you. Not much, but I've caught a few on them. So
bullheads will beat about anything.
Curtis wants a bag of M&Ms.
Peanut M&Ms and an orange soda. You can just get me a bag of peanuts and a Coke.
I'm kind of screening through here. Danny says green sunfish are in the rocks along the shoreline. My favorite this time of year. They should be starting to spawn, Danny. If you see them packed in there, you'll be able to see their little orange tipped fins at the top and in the shallows. I to this day, it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Right behind that would be bluegill spawning, little baby bluegill on an overburdened pond with bluegills in like 3 inches of water with their fins sticking out of the top. It's so cool to see. Pretty neat stuff.
I think just seeing bluegill beds is an awesome sight. It's like a grid of divots, and it's amazing how they're close together and they all got gills on top of them, or most of them do. And you can stand there if it's in clear water and watch them run off the things that are coming in to eat them eggs or their small fry, and it's just really, really cool to watch.
Crappie Kid says, I find jigs and flies tied with 1/64th ounce and 1/80th ounce jig heads will increase your catch rate with panfish. I agree.
100%.
Jody got a covered boat slip tonight. That's exciting. With bait fish everywhere. I don't know how to catch crappie. Do I just drop a minnow down there and see what happens? You can do that, Jody. Put it under a bobber, drop a minnow down there, try different depths. Remember that crappie bite upward. Don't use too small a hook. Watch your line, and you never know. You just got to try it. If you got a long enough rod, you can just put a hook on the end of a line with a split shot and lower it down there slowly, or a jig head with a minnow on it. Crappie are pretty easy to catch. They're harder to find. So if you got crappie down there, you're in good shape.
You know, one thing people forget about crappie, and you can catch them on small jigs with small hooks. You really can. But the crappie's mouth is quite a bit bigger than most panfish, and they can take a pretty good size hook.
You know, SK's Crappie Catch Adventure explained to me once in one of his lives. I was downsize, but the problem with downsizing, like a 1/80th jig or a 1/64th ounce jig, is that crop, you'll inhale it and exhale it faster than you know what even happened.
After you even set the hook, yeah.
That's why a bigger hook works better for crappie with a little more weight to it. Chances are you'll get them in the top of the mouth, but they can do the same thing to a 1/16th ounce jig with a number 2 hook in it. So, I mean, it is what it is, but the smaller the hook, the harder it is. But then again, you know, I was out on Mendota, like 4 weeks ago, and I caught like that 3.5 pound bass on a 1/64th ounce jig.
That's
and
right.
It's stuck.
That's right.
It all depends on how you set the hook and where it's inhaled. So,
yep. Our old buddy Josh has made it into chat, the Weekend Angler. Thank you for joining us.
What's going on, Josh? How you doing, bud? That's right, Benoit. Benoit Fishing Outdoor says, Jody, yes, crappie love minnows. They sure do.
Hey, Ernie Brown made it in.
How you doing, Ernie?
You wake up or getting ready for bed?
Yeah, he's probably getting ready for bed soon. He's an early riser.
He is.
Bugman
says before I ever get out of bed.
This is true. He was live today. I kind of tuned in before I had to leave the house. I just said hello, but I didn't want to start a conversation when I had to go. Bugman says, my dad used long shank wire hooks. I think those are the ones that Lyle's talking about.
Yep,
the cricket.
They're great for panfish. They really are.
How you doing, Brian B? There's Jose 803 Pan Fishing. I don't know if I said hello to you, but I know he was there. So, and he says, amen, Lyle, free delivery and curbside pickup at Walmart.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it.
Danny's having a conversation with Benoit. Crappie bite is hot now, and I use my jigs and artificial baits till November. There you go.
There you go. And didn't he say a while ago he was in Florida?
In Florida, the Panhandle.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Man,
I'd like to.
I really said I never wanted to go to Florida because in my mind the only thing that I see in Florida is Disney World, and me and that many people would probably not work out. But I'd probably go down there if I got a chance to go down there and fish with him. I have an uncle that lives in the middle part of the state. A couple of uncles and cousin. But yeah, I come more near going down for a fishing trip than I would to go to Disney World because I have zero desire to go there.
You know, Florida's a big state, Lyle. Disney World is small compared to Florida. I kind of like Florida except for the heat, and the wife refuses to move there because she thinks that an alligator is going to eat one of our dogs. So
I don't have much desire for an alligator being around me either.
look, I guess Lulu answers to the word dog now. That's the first for everything. She came running in when I said that. So
Wow.
Bugman says, is wax worms or the sawdust stuff they put them in? Is it the wax? It's the wax worms.
It's the wax.
Yeah, keeps them going on. I did say hello to Brian B. How you doing? But there's 205 Wild Action. How you doing, bud? Good to see you, my friend. Oh, look at this. Jose's got a mealworm farm. That's cool.
Hey, that is cool. That's way cool. I can't get my chair adjusted.
The crappie kid says, Lyle, I really think you should give crappie fireballs a try. You won't regret it. Trust me. I don't even know what a crappie,
I don't either.
fireball.
Enlighten me, please.
Oh, that could be like a different version of Gulp, I'm guessing. I think I have heard of them. So.
Oh, I haven't heard of them, but I'm interested now because when I think fireballs, I think of a fifth.
The candy?
No.
Oh, you're thinking about the whiskey. Well, I want to apologize for calling that whiskey because that's not whiskey.
No, it's not. It's
No,
like a brandy or something. It's just flavored drink. Good idea on the bacon grease. I agree. But eat the bacon first.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit, Okay, we're not going to get into too picky, but yeah. A little bit of bacon grease goes a long way. You can roll it around in there. 205 Wild Action says he loves red worms. I happen to agree.
I do too. I like those very much.
And 205 says they will hit crickets in late summer and early fall, but they'll hit worms all year long. Agreed.
I agree.
Benoit says, found a honey hole of Mondo baits for some monster flatties, hopefully. I hope you get on them.
I do too. I hope
you get on them. I think I got them figured out too, ladies, but we'll see what happens. Last Sunday was just an oddity with all that grass coming down river. So we'll see what happens when I get back out there. Josh, we said hello to. How you doing, Josh? What's going on? I'm waiting to see what comment you were laughing about. I'm getting down there. Everybody's kind of chatting with each other.
Ernie says he can make fireball. He gave me some stuff that I thought was going to set me on fire once.
I remember that.
Woo!
Uptown Christian Brown had a bluegill take a minnow over half the length of the bluegill itself. Yeah, they'll try.
Oh,
I've called bluegill on crankbaits. They'll strike at anything when they come by. They're very reactionary fish, to be honest. So,
yep, they are, and they love to eat. So, you can usually catch bluegill. Usually, they have their times when they're hard to catch, but a lot of time gets up with the chicken food. But yeah, you can usually catch them, and jigs and worms, live bait, anything. They just like to eat.
I'm not quite sure what Ernie was talking about, but sure, Ernie, for you, anything better.
That's right.
SK's Crappie Catching Adventures, a number 4 or even a number 2 hook works best for me. Sometimes a 1/8 ounce or sometimes heavier head will work. And I bet you that's to stop them from doing the inhale. So I don't use a 1/8 ounce hook too much just because we don't have the size of crappie that would need them. And I don't fish in the depths that would require something that deep. If I'm fishing something that deep, Lyle, I'm using a double hook jig or I'm putting a big old split sinker on there. And that's so I can see it on my live scope too. If I'm vertical jigging in that deep of water, that would definitely help. So
I like a double hook rig, and the reason I like a double jig rig is because you have a hook at 2 different depths, and I like to rig them up with the weight on the bottom like a drop shot. So the first one's about 4 to 6 inches off the bottom, the next one's 1.5 or so higher than that.
If I'm using a double hook rig, it's usually on on the Wisconsin River. There's quite a bit of current there. So I'll do, a 16th ounce on the bottom one and a 32nd ounce on the top one. And the top one always has a dropper loop. So it trails behind it. And I always catch on that top one for some reason. Usually it's the opposite whenever I tried it other places. But yeah, that river rig works pretty good. So Crappie Kid says, I have found that crappie will gang up and eat brim fry. So if you're looking for the big ones, look for the brim and get better bang for your buck. That's interesting.
Makes sense, yeah.
Joe Buck in the house, channel supporter. Joe, I'm sorry I didn't say hello to you earlier. I think you were just kind of sitting back and watching, but I see you in here now. Frank says, I opened up a can of whoop ass on some trout in Florida one time.
Attaboy, Frank.
Oh, Josh, I see the comment that Josh is laughing about. Crappie Kid says, best time to come visit me, Mark and Lal, is November and December.
That'd be the time to go because it'd be cold up here. Josh
says, fried crappie and fireball whiskey sounds good to me. Lal, I know a guy who marinates pulled pork for a pork butt for pulled pork and fireball, and he swears by it. He's like, oh, I'm
really?
Yeah.
Wow, sounds good.
I don't know how to react to that.
Well, maybe that's a new cooking show.
That could be. No, I'm not wasting a whole pork butt with some fireball, and I don't care for fireball too much. So
I kind of like it.
Well, that's good. Enjoy.
I don't have any.
Anything that sits next to the checkout in buckets full of airplane shot.
That's too expensive. You don't get nothing out. Here's what I'm drinking.
Oh, there you go. Diet Mountain Dew. Good deal.
My favorite drink. I drink tons of it. Like it a lot.
Ernie says, I meant Chris, you make cinnamon sticks. Ah, gotcha.
Sounds good to me. Cinnamon's just pretty good for them.
There you go. Now me and Frank are on the same page. I don't know about Fireball, but some Knob Creek or Buffalo Trace works. It does.
Yeah.
205 says, talking about bait for panfish, we used to catch a lot of them on beetle spins and 3S Rapalas. That's no, all right. Beetle spins, everybody knows beetle spins work. But if you can find small jerk baits, Euro Tackle makes them. Every now and then you can find the really small Rapalas. Good thing about using a jerk bait for panfish is you can do, the jerk, pause, and keep that bait in front of them, and you can trigger a bite that way. It works really good. Good thing about that is you're going to catch crappie if they're there. You're going to catch bigger bluegill if they're there. If there's even perch, will go after them if they're there. But if you can find those really small jerk baits, you'll have a lot of fun with them too. Also, we almost left out baits like trout magnets. They got crappie magnets too. Those work good.
Panfish magnets. They got a whole thing of them.
Panther Martins, inline Rapalas.
Inline spinners will work great. Yeah.
Small ones, really light line, light rod are a blast. You're gonna miss some fish, but it's fun to catch them on those spinners. So.
Yeah, I love spinner baits. They're a lot of fun, and they're not very expensive if you got to buy them.
Mostly on creeks too. Creek fishing is so much fun. I got to get back on the creek fishing.
If you can get the place, you don't have to walk terribly long distance, and the ticks are horrible this year.
Potski fireballs for crappie. Get the shad scented ones. We'll have to check that out.
We'll have to check that for sure.
You know why they're, if they're anything like the ones that Team Catfish sells them, I forget the name. You guys will have to forgive me, but they got a brand that's made out of actual rubber, but it's scented rubber. The scent's like built into them. Those stay on a hook forever, and they work great. I used to use the heck out of those things.
I like those. I would like those. I haven't tried them yet.
Danny Stone says, Danny Stone tip of the day. Stick a fork in a double stuffed Oreo and use it to dunk that sucker all the way in the milk. I like the way you think, Danny.
I do too. And
I used to have a buddy. I used to have a cousin that stayed with us for a little while. He was having some stuff being done to his house, and he wanted to hang out and stayed with us for a couple, 3 weeks. And this guy used to put half a tube of Chips Ahoy cookies in a beer stein, fill it with milk, and eat it with a spoon like cereal. Lyle.
Wow.
I tried it once. It was delicious. Ain't gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty darn good.
Cookie dough generally is pretty good if whoever's making the cookies
It is.
makes them good. Yeah.
So on that note, with Danny Stone's tip of the day, we made it to the end of chat, Lyle. We made it through another week of Panfish Nation.
You know what? This was a fun show. I really enjoyed it. And we talked about live bait and a lot of artificial bait, and they all catch fish. Sometimes one works better than the other depending on the day or the conditions or whatever. But the key to this whole thing, Mark, is for people to get out and go fishing.
Yep, now that you said that too, I kind of want to let me say something here real quick. Sunday is Father's Day, folks. If you're a father, take your kids fishing. If you have a father, take your father fishing. Mine passed away this year. I missed him to death, and I'd do anything to be able to fish with him again. So don't waste this opportunity to spend time with pops. Fathers, don't miss this opportunity to spend time with your kids. And there you go there. I said it, and I want to wish all the fathers out there happy Father's Day.
I agree. I lost my dad when I was 15 years old, and I had an older brother that was as much a father figure to me as anyone in the whole world, and I lost him a few years ago. And I've really been lost ever since then because he was everything to me that a dad should have been, besides being a brother. And it was really a hard loss, and things in my family have not been the same since he was gone. I love him to death, and I talk to him every once in a while. He probably hears me, but he don't answer me yet, but we're working on that.
And Crappie Kid's got a tip of the day himself. He says, the crappie will be hot from 4 a.m. till 8 a.m. and then again in a night bite. Don't miss out. Trust me.
I've never tried a night bite for bluegill.
I'm so blind. I can't see a float. I guess if I'm casting, I can feel
it. Get you one of them that's got a light in it.
Yeah, I don't like those.
Okay.
They're not sense. Well, we'll talk later. But yeah. That night fishing's always fun. You know me, I do a lot of it. And Bugman misses his dad too. Was thinking of you, Buggy. So on that note,
thank you, Ernie.
Thank you, Ernie, very much.
Buddy. All right, Mark, it was a great show tonight. A lot of fun. We'll come up with a great topic for next week. Please, everybody, stop in and join us. If you hadn't hit the like and subscribe button before you leave, please do so. We'll be having some content, fishing content coming out on our channel here before long. So stay tuned.
Right. Thank you guys for watching. God bless everybody. Bye-bye.
Fun show.